All right, very great pleasure. Joining me now, former Vice President Mike Pence, unveiling today his freedom agenda for America. Mr. Vice President, thank you so much for coming back on the show. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Larry. Good to be with you.
So, I guess I have a lot of questions, but one question I have for you. Can we please get back to policies that will generate 3 to 4% economic growth so we can maintain low inflation, low unemployment? We had it going in Trump-Pence years. The Biden budget, as you may know, is 2% more stagnation in the out years with gigantic deficit spending and so forth. Can we get back to a real growth agenda, sir?
We can get back to a growth agenda. Obviously, Larry, it all begins when we win back the Congress and we win back state houses around the country and then win back America in a few short years. But what our organization has put together with this freedom agenda is all designed to be an effort to say, look, what have we learned from Reagan to Trump that animates the conservative movement in this country? We called together some of the best and brightest minds in this movement. Our objective was to say, what is that broad-based conservative agenda that literally won the nation in 1980, that literally carried us to the White House in 2016, transformed the country in those first 3 years before the pandemic, and with the help of some great conservative leaders like Betsy DeVos, like Dave Bernhardt, like Governor Scott Walker, and like you, Larry, we've put together an agenda that focuses on American culture, on American prosperity, and American leadership and strength at home and abroad. And I hope people will go to advancingamericanfreedom.com and take a look at it. To me, it's absolutely essential that as we provide that fierce opposition to the left-wing agenda of the Biden administration, we also have to offer that positive vision for the American people about how we bring our country all the way back.
You know, Mike, we were going through the budget last night, and there are 100 mentions of the word equity, okay? Not growth, right, not prosperity, equity, which means essentially not just equal opportunity at the starting line, but it means equal results and outcomes at the finish line, equity. And hundreds of billions of dollars are being spent throughout the government budget on equity. Now, why is it the left wants to punish success? Why doesn't the left understand that we are not all going to have the same finish line? There are going to be some better than others. That's the way life works. But in the long run, if we have limited government and some freedom, we will prosper. This word equity is driving me crazy, Mike.
Well, it's all about driving outcomes, as you know, Larry. And it's amazing to think that in the midst of the worst inflation in 40 years, with war raging in Europe, with a crisis on our southern border, with a crime epidemic in many of our major cities, the administration came forward this week with a budget that literally cuts military spending and increases taxes by $2.5 trillion. Our freedom agenda that we unveiled this morning actually calls on let's not raise taxes. Let's make the Trump-Pence tax cuts permanent. Let's look for additional ways to let Americans and American businesses keep more of what they earn and make it possible for us to grow our way out of this challenging economy that's impacting working families all across the country. But I think the answer to your question is because I know they believe in government. I'm not sure they really believe in the boundless potential of the American people. And we did. We secured our border. We rebuilt our military. We appointed conservatives to our courts at every level. We stood for the right to life. We stood for religious liberty. But at the core of that was a growth agenda that there are very few Americans that have been greater champions of the free market and a growth agenda than you, Larry Kudlow. And I want to thank you for your leadership, literally from the Reagan years all the way through the Trump-Pence years. And I promise you, I believe, or at least I believe with all of my heart, before too long, the American people are going to turn our country right back to those policies that we'll know will lead toward boundless American prosperity.
All those years, sir. God, it's exhausting to even think about it. That was a joke. Just kidding. I've loved every minute of it. But let me ask you, I couldn't help myself. What do you think about Biden's new toy, the Strategic Petroleum Reserve? Is that the way for us to regain energy security?
Well, I heard that the current vice president actually is talking about them sending out a million barrels a day out of the strategic. Larry, the Strategic Petroleum Reserve is meant to be a reserve in the face of national crises or war.
Right.
It's not meant to be a means of lowering the price at the pump. Look, we know how to lower the price at the pump. Under the Trump-Pence administration and in our agenda, the freedom agenda we published, we know the pathway. We achieved the first energy independence in 70 years. We were a net exporter of energy. And the way that we can drive down inflation, the way that we can drive down the cost of gasoline at the pump is to unleash American energy. The American people know that. Let those leases that Senator Kramer was just talking about go. Let's develop oil, natural gas. Let's reopen ANWR. Let's get the Keystone Pipeline built. But it's amazing to think that last week President Biden is in Europe pledging more natural gas to wean Europe off of Russia. And then the debate becomes, who are we not going to export natural gas to so we can meet Europe's needs, instead of saying, let's generate more resources, let's produce more energy. We are the Saudi Arabia of energy in this country. We proved that in 4 short years. And the American people want to see us get back to an agenda that unleashes American energy and lowers the cost of energy in our home utility bills and at the gas pump, and do it now.
Mr. Vice President, I just want to pivot a moment to Ukraine, Russia-Ukraine, because, all right, Putin is a war criminal. We got that. Putin is a war criminal. But as you know, sir, Putin is also a crook. He has stolen hundreds of billions of dollars from Russian working folks. And, sir, I just, for the life of me, don't know why this administration or others should be proposing. He has a big $700 million boat off the coast of Italy. It is his boat. We have sanctioned him and his boat and his other, Swiss bank. Why don't we seize this yacht? Just seize it. He's a crook. That's a narrative we should be pushing. I know he's a war criminal, too. But what is stopping us? Just take his little boat away.
Putin's Russian invasion of Ukraine is a travesty. And Larry, I was literally just on the border of Poland and Ukraine. I had the opportunity to speak to refugees that were surging across the border. And I've said since the very outset of this invasion that we should bring the full weight of the American economy on Vladimir Putin and on every Russian leader that is complicitous in this invasion. And I think continuing to sanction him, use the authority we have as the most prosperous nation on earth, to deny them access to institutions that use the American dollar, continue to ratchet up the sanctions, continue to provide the Ukrainian military with the arms that they need to defend themselves. And I also believe we need to continue to lean into, as a nation and as individuals, the humanitarian efforts to support not only those that have left the country, but the tens of millions of Ukrainians that are still struggling in the midst of this heartless and merciless military invasion.
Would President Pence take his boat, seize his boat, just take it away?
Thank you, Larry.
No, I'm asking a question. If you were president, would you just take? I don't know why we're not seizing all of his assets. By the way, maybe we can't find them. But this big $700 million yacht, I'm just saying, I'd like to see our government seize it, take it away. Because he's corrupt and he's a crook, in addition to being a war criminal.
Yeah, look, people don't realize that Vladimir Putin is literally not just a dictator, but he sits as a dictator on top of a kleptocracy.
Right.
Literally, they have been robbing from their people, robbing from their so-called marketplace, enriching themselves. And I agree with you. I think we should use every legal authority at our means to seize assets of Vladimir Putin and any other leader in the government, and also any of the oligarchs that are responsible for supporting this heartless invasion that is costing lives. We simply have to stand strong. And in that freedom agenda we call for, we need to stand strong against Russian aggression, and we need to be willing to stand with our Western allies and marshal the support to defend freedom.
All right, great stuff. Vice President Pence, thank you, sir. All the best on the freedom agenda. It's a growth agenda. That's a common sense agenda. It's a national security energy agenda. Thank you, sir. We appreciate you coming back on the show. Hope to see you soon.